An urgent, urgent peril has come from Jerusalem. A foreign race has invaded the lands of the Christians.
The Crusades, spanning 2 centuries, began with the siege of Jerusalem in 1099.
Undertake this journey for the remission of your sins. It is the will of God.
Deus vult!
God wills it. Take up the cross and reclaim the Holy Land, and your sins shall be forgiven.
Your sins are forgiven. Go forth, soldiers of Christ, and reclaim the Holy Land.
Deus vult! Deus vult!
For the knight, motivation was glory and status. For the peasant, it was the endless toil of survival and the harvest.
The political landscape of 11th century Europe was defined by fragmented feudal power and intense sources. They called it the Holy City. Thousands marched, fought, and died to reach Jerusalem.
This is Jerusalem, the Holy City. Its capture was the ultimate goal of the Crusades, inspired.
The fall of Acre in 1291 marked the definitive end of the Crusades. While
after 2 centuries of conflict, the Crusader states collapsed, yet the exchange of goods and ideas continued.
The impact of the Crusades on Christian-Muslim relations cannot be overstated. They established of interaction difference.
The Crusades fundamentally reshaped the dynamic between our civilizations. They introduced a legacy of profound...
The major battles were brutal. The siege of Antioch lasted months, followed by the climactic assault on Jerusalem in 1099.
The First Crusade reached its climax in 1099 with the siege of Jerusalem. After weeks,
The siege of Antioch, lasting from 1097 to 1098, was a pivotal moment in the First Crusade.
The siege of Antioch, lasting from 1097 to 998, saw Crusader forces launch a massive assault.
After 5 grueling weeks, the walls were breached. On July 15, 1099, the Holy City fell to the Crusaders.
The Lord calls us to Jerusalem. Take up your cross and follow me. We will purify the Holy Land.
By 1099, the major cities had fallen. The Crusaders established 4 Latin states. The Second Crusade failed due to a lack of unity and conflicting objectives, particularly during the disastrous siege of Damascus.
the failure of the Second Crusade can be attributed to several factors: fractured leadership, logistical failures during the
Louis II's long reign saw the disastrous Second Crusade and a pivotal divorce from Eleanor of Aquitaine.
As the King of France from 1137, Louis VII centralized power, but his reign was largely
Conrad III, though never crowned emperor by the Pope, reigned as King of Germany, striving to restore imperial control amidst fierce Saxon resistance.
You have questioned my authority, Count. My role is to ensure the stability of the realm.
The siege was brief but intense. Balian of Ibelin negotiated the surrender, handing the keys to Saladin. In 1187, Saladin's forces besieged Jerusalem. After 12 days, the city Richard the Lionheart played a pivotal role, demonstrated through his capture of Acre, victory at Arsuf, and the resulting Treaty of Jaffa.
The Siege of Acre in 1191 marked a major turning point in the Third Crusade. It secured
The Treaty of Jaffa, signed here in 1192, secured a vital truce. While Richard the Lionheart led with a warrior's fury, Saladin commanded through intellect and diplomacy.
Richard, the warrior king, commanded through unmatched ferocity, whereas Saladin relied on discipline and strategic patience.
Unable to pay the Venetians, the Crusaders agreed to divert their forces. They would attack the Christian city of Constantinople in
The Fourth Crusade ultimately targeted Constantinople due to a combination of Venetian influence and
The Fourth Crusade reached its shameful climax. The most magnificent city in Europe was subject.
The fall of Constantinople in 1204 marked a catastrophic turning point, fatally weakening the Byzantine Empire.
Analyze the impact of the Fourth Crusade on the Byzantine Empire.
We will transport your army, knight, but first you will help us secure Zara. Then the wealth of Byzantium awaits us.
The fall of Constantinople in 1204 led to the immediate partitioning of the empire. The Crusaders formed the Latin belt.
The Treaty of Partition formally divided the captured Byzantine lands. It established the Latin Empire.
The Albigensian Crusade, beginning in 1209, sought the eradication of heresy in subjects.
The Albigensian Crusade, beginning in 1209, was a 20-year military campaign by the Catholic Church to
In the year 1212, thousands of children embarked on a desperate, religiously inspired march across Europe.
The Northern Crusades brought the Teutonic Knights deep into the Baltic forests, clashing violently with the remaining pagan tribes.
The Northern Crusades, a clash of steel, faith, and fire as the Teutonic Knights swept through the Baltic.
The Teutonic Knights played a pivotal role in the Baltic Crusades, establishing a powerful monastic state through military force.
To truly understand the Baltic Crusades, one must analyze the pivotal, often brutal, role played by the Teutonic Knights.
Called by Pope Innocent III, the Fifth Crusade aimed for Egypt. They captured Damietta, but advancing.
Launched in 1217, the Fifth Crusade targeted the Ayyubid Sultanate in Egypt. This led to
The Sixth Crusade, unique in its approach. Emperor Frederick II successfully negotiated the Treaty of Partition.
We agree that Jerusalem must be open to all, under our protection.
And the sacred sites remain under our Partition.
We agree that Jerusalem must be open to all, under our protection.
And the sacred sites remain under our...
The boundaries are clear. This ensures safe passage for all pilgrims.
We agree to these terms.
King Louis IX led the Seventh Crusade to Egypt, achieving early success before a devastating defeat at Mansoura in 12. Crusade can be attributed to several factors: the flooding of the Nile, the spread of disease, and the failure of the Seventh Crusade was multifaceted. Logistical errors, the devastating impact of disease.
The Eighth Crusade in 1270 saw Louis IX of France land in Tunis. But the scorching heat and disease quit. Landing in Tunis, the Crusaders were immediately beset by disease. King Louis IX soon succumbed to the plague.
The role of the Hospitallers was twofold. They offered crucial medical care to pilgrims and crusaders, and the Hospitallers were unique, serving not only as fierce warriors defending the Holy Land, but also as monks dedicated to caring for the sick and wounded.
clad in their distinctive white mantles, the Templars were the frontline defenders of the Crusader states.
The Knights Templar were the spearhead of the Crusades, an elite fighting force tasked with defending the Holy Land and protecting.
As the Crusader states established themselves, the military orders became indispensable, charged with defending the realm and its pilgrims.
The Crusades fundamentally reshaped the Near East. While establishing the Kingdom of Jerusalem brought new trade.
As the Crusader army marched on Jerusalem, they established a kingdom whose legacy would forever alter the course of the Middle East.
Your terms regarding Jerusalem are difficult, but acceptable for now.
This treaty secures the passage for pilgrims and ensures the stability of the region.
Your terms regarding the fortress are acceptable, provided the trade routes remain open.
We shall ensure their safety. Let this scroll seal our accord.
Prepare for the landing! To the walls, men! For Venice and for Christ!
Driven by the Italian city-states, these maritime crusades were as much about trade as faith, fiercely contested on the open sea. The maritime powers of Genoa and Pisa were essential to the Crusades, providing the naval strength and logistical support required for the campaigns.
Spidered. The maritime powers of Genoa and Pisa were crucial to the Crusades, providing the naval strength and logistics.
The Crusades triggered a profound shift in European feudal systems. They centralized power around the monarchy. By drawing away the landed gentry and forcing the sale of charters for silver and gold, the Crusades The Crusades significantly influenced European monarchies, bringing unprecedented wealth and weakening the feudal nobility. The Crusades offered Europe's monarchs a unique opportunity to expand their influence and wealth under the banner of faith.
Ambushed on the march, the Crusaders formed a defensive hedgehog until reinforcements arrived, turning the tide of the battle.
The Crusader vanguard was ambushed by Seljuk horse archers, but the timely arrival of reinforcements secured a crucial victory.
The Siege of Jerusalem in 1099. This was the brutal climax of the First Crusade, as European...
The Siege of Jerusalem in 1099 marked the climax of the First Crusade, utilizing massive... Fought on July 4th, 1187, the Battle of Hattin saw Saladin's unified forces completely surround the
The Battle of Hattin in 1187 was a catastrophic defeat for the Crusader forces. Under the
Siege of Acre, 1191, a pivotal moment of the Third Crusade.
The Crusader army marched in a tight formation, enduring the relentless harassment. Then the Hospitallers,
faced with determined resistance and the devastating effects of Greek fire, the siege of 1148 ultimately failed, securing the city for the Burids.
The siege of Damascus in 1148 saw the Crusaders clash violently with the city's defenders amidst the Battle of Laforby in 1244 proved catastrophic. The coalition army shone Zang.
The Battle of Laforby in 1244 proved a catastrophic blow to the Crusader dates.
The Fourth Crusade arrived at the walls of Knoll in 1204. With Venetian naval support,
In 1204, the armies of the Fourth Crusade arrived at the seemingly impregnable walls of Constantinople.
These medieval naval clashes were chaotic and brutal. With grappling hooks securing the targets, the Crusaders... Deus Vult! Charge! Defend the ship!
Fortresses were central to Crusader strategy, serving as administrative centers, supply depots, and defensive bastions against opposing forces.
Fortresses were the backbone of Crusader strategy. They dominated the landscape, protected trade routes. The Crusader heavy cavalry charge, relying on immense weight and disciplined formation, was often decisive, smashing. The role of cavalry in Crusader battles was paramount. They provided the primary shock tactic.
The trebuchet was the undisputed king of the battlefield during the Crusades. Nothing else could hurl massive stones with such devastating force.
The trebuchet, a sophisticated and earlier catapult, became the centerpiece of Crusade warfare.
Terrain significantly influenced Crusader victories.
The primary role of the ambush was to neutralize the Crusaders' heavy cavalry advantage by engaging them in unfavorable ground. Ambushes played a crucial role in Crusader battles, often utilized by Saracen forces to counter the heavy Frankish cavalry in difficult terrain like this canyon.
From the sands of Hattin to the gates of Jerusalem, Saladin forged an empire. Yet, it was his mercy that defined his rule. From the sands of Egypt to the walls of Jerusalem, Saladin forged an empire, remembered as much for his mercy as his military might.
Embark on this journey and may he absolve you of your sins. For Christ, go forth, Crusaders! A grave necessity, dearly beloved brethren, has brought you and us to this place. We must hasten to the aid of our brethren in the east.
Frederick II, excommunicated yet determined, achieved through diplomacy what others had failed to do through war.
Excommunicated by the Pope, Frederick II defied expectations, securing Jerusalem through a landmark treaty rather than bloodshed.
A towering figure of the First Crusade, Bohemond masterminded the capture of Antioch and established the powerful Principality of Antioch.
Bohemond of Taranto's tactical brilliance was undeniable. He led the charge at Antioch.
God wills it! Follow me to the gates! Show no mercy!
Though afflicted by disease, Baldwin IV, the Leper King, proved a resilient and inspiring leader during the height of the Crusades.
My presence on the Second Crusade was essential, not merely as queen, but as the leader of my own Aquitanian troops.
Eleanor played a pivotal role, not just accompanying the troops, but actively providing strategic counsel and support.
Driven by deep piety, Louis IX led the Seventh Crusade into Egypt, facing the formidable forces of the Ayyubid Sultanate.
The holy city calls to us. God wills it. We must march now and take back the Holy Land from the infidels. The Lord calls us to the east, to Jerusalem. All who join this holy pilgrimage shall have their sins.
Raymond IV, Count of Toulouse, was one of the wealthiest and most powerful leaders of the First Crusade. He played a key role in the siege of Jerusalem. The contribution of Raymond of Toulouse was critical to the First Crusade, providing vital leadership during the Long March and the capture of this fortress.
Prince Hugh arrived in Constantinople expecting a hero's welcome, but the crusade was...
Count Hugh of Vermelles led his contingent across the rugged plains, determined to reach the Holy Land.
The Grand Master served as the supreme authority, overseeing both the military campaigns in the Levant.
My role is to ensure the safety of the pilgrim routes. We move south at dawn. The Saracens must not reach the river crossing before us. Our purpose is clear. We must secure the roads for pilgrims and protect the holy city.
Brother, you will lead the contingent south.
Brothers, look to the east. Our holy mission is clear. We are the swords of the church, and we march for Jerusalem. Prepare the vanguard.
As a direct result of the Crusades, trade routes flourished, bringing spices, silks, and new wealth back to Europe.
The Crusades profoundly influenced trade. Returning knights brought exotic goods like spices. The Crusades initially brought destruction, but ultimately galvanized a unified Islamic front under leaders like Saladin. The Crusades certainly impacted the Islamic world, yet as we see in 12th century Damascus, the Crusades exposed the West to the rich styles of Byzantium and the Islamic world. From the formidable defenses of Croix de Chevaliers to the vibrant pigments of illuminated manuscripts.
The Lord calls you to defend the holy city. March to the very grave of Christ.
All your sins shall be purged.
It is the will of God that you take up the cross and reclaim the Holy Land.
God wills it. God wills it.
Pilgrimage culture profoundly influenced the Crusaders, transforming a military expedition into a spiritual journey fraught with peril. The Crusades were not merely military campaigns. They were armed pilgrimages, deeply rooted in the medieval tradition of penance and holy travel. The Crusades were not merely military campaigns. They were armed pilgrimages, deeply rooted in the medieval tradition of penance and holy travel.
In the Crusader states, women often held significant authority. They managed vast estates.
Fresh spices and the finest textiles. Yes, madam. And you, boy, get your hands away from there immediately.
The impact was devastating. Jewish communities across Europe faced persecution, destruction, and forced displacement during the Crusades.
The Crusades weakened the papacy and the old nobility, allowing monarchs to centralize authority. These new trade routes make the crown stronger.
The Crusades left an indelible mark on Christian-Muslim relations, fostering centuries of mistrust and conflict that resonate even today.
The lasting impact of the Crusades was profound, leaving a legacy of bitterness and misunderstanding that...
What were the Crusades, and why did they begin?
The Holy Sepulchre is polluted. Undertake this journey for the remission of your sins. The Crusades were born from a complex mix of religious and religious fervor and political maneuvering, beginning with...
The Crusades were driven by religious fervor to reclaim the Holy Land. The political ambitions of the papacy.
A grave peril threatens the East. The Turks have invaded the lands of the Christians. Undertake this journey. The Holy Sepulchre must be reclaimed.
Journey to the East!
For God himself wills it.
Deus vult!
Take up the cross, and you shall receive the remission of all your sins. Your path to paradise is assured. To all who undertake this pilgrimage, we promise the remission of your sins. Should you die in this righteous... God wills it! Take up the cross and free the Holy Sepulchre from the infidel. For those who die in this sacred...
The main goals included reclaiming the Holy Land for Christendom, religious zeal, and the expansion of territorial and trade routes. What regions were affected by the Crusades?
Go forth, Knights of Christ! Take up the cross and recover the Holy Sepulchre! The Lord wills it! Go forth, warriors of Christ!
Deus vult! Deus vult!
A grave peril threatens the lands in the East! Undertake this journey for the remission of your sins.
Driven by fervent religious zeal, this massive, disorganized army of the poor set off on a perilous journey to the Holy Land.
God wills it! We must march to Jerusalem and reclaim the Holy Sepulchre from the infidels.
Join me!
Take up the cross! God wills it! We march to the Holy Land.
After months of grueling siege, the Crusaders finally breached the walls in June 1098.
The siege of Antioch began in 1097. After months of brutal fighting, the city finally...
The First Crusade reached Jerusalem in 1099. After a brutal siege, the city fell on July 15th.
The First Crusade was a perfect storm. Their military superiority and relentless assault led to...
I was the First Crusade successful!
What were the Crusader states? They were a collection of feudal entities created in the Levant after the First Crusade.
Established after the First Crusade in the Levant, the Crusader states were strategic strongholds, lasting nearly 200 years.
The County of Edessa, the Principality of Antioch, the County of Tripoli, and finally, the Kingdom of Jerusalem. The four Crusader states were the County of Edessa, the Principality of Antioch, the County of Tripoli, and the Kingdom of Jerusalem.
Godfrey of Bouillon was a French knight and leader of the First Crusade.
who became the first ruler of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. What was the impact of the First Crusade?
The Second Crusade was caused by the fall of the county of Edessa in 1144. The loss of
The Second Crusade was led by two monarchs, King Conrad III of Germany and King Louis VII of France.
Overseas. The siege of Damascus was a disaster. Beset by Greek fire and unable to coordinate their forces,
A lack of coordination and the disastrous 5-day siege of Damascus ultimately doomed the Second Crusade to failure. In 1148, the combined armies of the Second Crusade laid siege to Damascus, but the strong...
Facing strong resistance and logistical failures, the Crusade of Damascus was decisive victories.
I shall rule France by the grace of God, ensuring justice across the land. The crown's authority must be absolute.
What role did King Louis II play?
We must secure the route through Anatolia. The Crusade cannot afford another delay.
Yes, Your Majesty.
26. What role did Emperor Conrad III play?
The Muslim response to the Second Crusade was fierce and unified, culminating in the defense of Damascus.
The Muslim forces responded with a unified and determined defense, culminating in a decisive victory.
To victory!
The Second Crusade failed to achieve its primary objectives, significantly weakening the Crusader states and causing deep political rifts.
The consequences were severe. The Crusade was a dismal failure, weakening the Crusader states and unifying their Muslim enemies.
The failures of the Second Crusade taught us the bitter cost of disunity and the underestimation of our foes.
We cannot maintain the siege with these losses. We must pull back.
It is over! Sound the retreat! We return to the coast! The cause here...
Saladin, born Yusuf ibn Ayyub, was the first Sultan of Egypt and Syria and the founder of the Ayyubid dynasty.
Who was Saladin? The Kurdish warrior united the Muslim lands and famously conquered the Crusader states.
How did Saladin capture Jerusalem in 1187?
How did Saladin capture Jerusalem in 1187?
The Battle of Hattin, fought in 1187, marked a pivotal moment in the Crusades. Saladin's forces decisively defeated. The Third Crusade was primarily led by Emperor Frederick Barbarossa.
Richard, who were the leaders of the Third Crusade? They were Frederick I, Philip II, and Richard the Lionheart.
What role did Richard the Lionheart play?
Useful charge!
The Battle of Arsuf, September 7, 1191. A decisive victory for Richard the Lionheart during the Third Crusade.
The Treaty of Jaffa, signed in 1192, established a truce between Richard the Lionheart and Saladin, effectively ending the Third Crusade.
The Treaty of Jaffa, signed in 1192, established a 3-year truce between the Crusaders.
Did the Third Crusade succeed or fail?
We leave with a treaty, not victory. Did we fail?
You did not take the city, Crusader. The Truce of Jaffa is merely a pause. Rest now, warrior. The fight is over, and honor is preserved. My healers will see to your wounds. We do not make war with the sick.
Why is Saladin remembered as a great leader?
We must retake the Holy Land. The way is long.
His Holiness decrees we go via Egypt. Jerusalem is the goal, yes, but Constantinople holds the key and the wealth we need. We shall take the city first.
Why did Crusaders attack Constantinople?
The sack of Constantinople in 1204 saw the Fourth Crusade brutally capture and plunder the Byzantine capital.
Push them back! Hold the line! The city is falling! Save the relics!
Burn the infidel strongholds!
Venice provided the fleet, but at a steep price. The Crusaders, deeply in debt, were redirected toward Constantinople.
What was the impact on the Byzantine Empire? Instead of fighting in the Holy Land, the Crusaders turned on their Christian allies, culminating in the catastrophic siege.
The Fourth Crusade is considered a disaster, primarily due to the catastrophic sack of Constantinople in 1204.
Listen, how did it weaken Christianity in the East?
How did it weaken Christianity in the East?
What were the political results of the Fourth Crusade?
How did Muslims benefit from the Fourth Crusade?
51. What was the Children's Crusade? In 1212, the Children's Crusade saw thousands marching, convinced of divine protection.
Kyrie eleison.
Some sits. The Fifth Crusade aimed for Egypt, focusing on the port of Damietta. But the rising Nile trapped the Crusader army.
Launched in 1217, the Fifth Crusade aimed to seize the Egyptian port of Damietta, believing it was the key to reclaiming Jerusalem.
The turning point cannot from battle, but from the Nile itself. Trapped by the Sultan's...
The Sixth Crusade, led by Emperor Frederick II, achieved its goals through negotiation rather than conquest. Frederick II regained Jerusalem peacefully through the Treaty of Jaffa, signed with the Sultan in 1229.
Your terms are agreeable, Sultan. Jerusalem is ours once more, achieved through peace.
My word is my bond, Emperor. The treaty stands.
What was the Seventh Crusade?
The disastrous Battle of Fariscour left the French forces decimated, ailing and surrounded.
In 1270, King Louis IX of France set sail for Tunis, initiating the ill-fated Eighth Crusade.
What was the Eighth Crusade?
The later Crusades failed due to a combination of logistical overstretch, internal divisions among the European powers.
Why did later Crusades fail?
Forging the largest contiguous land empire in history, the Mongols connected east and west. How did Muslim power grow stronger? Through rapid conquests, extensive trade networks. Rapid military expansion from the Arabian Peninsula established the caliphate, but sustained power came from the long, costly crusades were failing. Europe's monarchs facing internal struggles and the lure of new wealth from trade. What happened to the last Crusader cities? They were erased from the Levant, their defenses shattered and their people scattered by the sword and the fire.
The last Crusader cities, like the mighty Acre, fell to the relentless Mamluk siege. Why did Acre fall in 1291?
The fall of Acre in 1291 was due to the overwhelming Mamluk forces. Their massive siege engines
Who were the Knights Templar? They were the most formidable warrior monks of the Crusades, protectors of the Holy Land and the Pilgrim Routes.
The Knights Hospitaller began as a Catholic military order, providing care for sick pilgrims.
The Knights Hospitaller served a dual role, tending to sick pilgrims and crusaders in their infirmaries, while also
Who were the Teutonic Knights?
Who were the Teutonic Knights?
In the Crusader states, military orders like the Templars were vital.
The Crusaders relied on the thunderous impact of the heavy cavalry charge, followed by brutal, grinding melee combat in the unforgiving heat. Crusader battles were intense, relying on the shock of the heavy cavalry charge and the impenetrable wall of shields formation.
What weapons were used in the Crusades? What weapons were used in the Crusades?
So how did these castles help the Crusaders? They provided strategic defense, secure bases, and they served as vital strongholds, offering shelter from the harsh environment and a secure base of operations against enemy forces. Muslim armies were known for their disciplined formations and the strategic use of cavalry. They would often fix the enemy with a shield wall and then launch rapid flanking attacks.
Known for their discipline and mobility, Muslim armies frequently employed the flanking maneuver, using their...
How did geography affect battles?
How did geography affect battles?
What were the major Crusader defeats?
The Crusades profoundly impacted European commerce, opening new trade routes and introducing a wealth of luxury goods from the East. Luxury goods flowed from the East, fine silks, vibrant spices such as saffron and cinnamon, and precious jewels and porcelain. The Crusades fundamentally reshaped European society, introducing new goods, expanding trade, and fostering...
How did Crusades change European society?
Blade siege.
What role did women play in the Crusades? The Crusades significantly influenced Western medicine, as European knights encountered advanced Arab medical practice.
The Crusades exposed Europeans to a sophisticated medical tradition, centuries ahead in surgery and pharmacology.
The Crusades introduced European builders to Byzantine and Islamic styles, resulting in a unique fusion of military and decorative art.
How did Crusades affect art and architecture?
The Crusader states were a melting pot of languages, primarily French, Arabic, Greek, and Italian. What languages were spoken in Crusader states?
The Crusaders governed through a strict feudal system, demanding tribute and loyalty, enforced by military might and careful administration.
How did Crusaders govern conquered lands?
How did local populations react to Crusaders?
Life in the Crusader states was a vibrant mix of cultures. Frankish knights rubbed shoulders with Syrian merchants, all drawn by the trade of the Levant.
What was daily life like in Crusader states?
Did the Crusades succeed or fail overall?
Despite moments of triumph, the Crusades ultimately failed in their primary objective.
How did the Crusades change Europe politically?
This charter confirms the Crown's new authority. The feudal levies are dissolved, and the Templars' wealth now belongs to the state.
How did they weaken the Byzantine Empire? We cannot trust the Latins.
Our own defenses are crumbling from within.
What long-term religious effects did they have?
How did the Crusades shape Christian-Muslim relations?
How did the Crusades shape Christian-Muslim relations? Why are the Crusades still controversial? What myths exist about the Crusades?
What is the historical importance of the Crusades? They reshaped the political landscape of the Middle East and Europe, fostering centuries of trade and conflict.
What is the historical importance of the Crusades?